Stupid logo. Yeah, that's better. You can get it. Marvelous.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And look. Ever since Destiny 2's DLC has blessed the streets, PvP players far and wide have literally been in shambles just due to these weapon stats and also all of these TTK changes and also all the armor changes that we have been experiencing in our current sandbox. And that's a fact, not an opinion. Facts.
I changed a lot.
You heard me right. Everybody's been bitching about how we don't have no content, the grind sucks, but one thing PvP players have been saying is that we haven't had a sandbox shakeup this big since Forsaken. Some people hate it, some people love it. My personal opinion on everything that's going on right now in PvP, this is needed. PvP has been failing, so if you're one of those motherfuckers that be saying
the weapons isn't good and we go back to the meta that we just had,
well, there's a reason why all you PvP players keep on playing the same team 3 or 4 times in trials, because the population's so fucking dead and there's literally a handful, literally 20 of you motherfuckers playing on reset. There's no people, there's nobody playing. It's you guys just keep playing against each other because PvP is in such a terrible state. Nobody wants to play PvP. They want rewards. They use y'all streamers for fucking free carries and go about the day. Nobody really wants to be invested in PvP. I feel like this change brings a lot of bad weapons to the spotlight, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Weapon builds, warlock builds. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. Like you guys see in the title, these are the best warlock builds. When I say warlock builds, we're not necessarily talking about classes, because in a nutshell, all these classes are kind of the same. What we're really going to be talking about is the weapon stats in general, and also the guns. Okay, so you know, we might not be talking about the most used class such as Dawnblade or Voidwalker or Storm or even Prismatic, but just know we're really just basing this off of stats. The subclass doesn't matter, the stats doesn't matter what you play. Okay, but nonetheless, let's just go over our Shadebinder build. I am a 0.1% Shadebinder. I feel like I'm the only one that plays this bitch, but we cook every time we play this subclass. I'll show you all the fragments, the abilities, and everything. Like I said, if you guys want to deep dive into what Shadebinder does and why I feel like it's one of the best subclasses in the game, look at some of my past videos where I really deep dive it. But in this video, we're talking about stats. If you are brand new to the Destiny world, if you guys are new to PvP, this is what's really shaking up the sandbox, are these weapon stats. Mainly it's this health stat and this weapon stat and also the super stat. Okay, these are the 3 most important stats that you really need to be shooting for if you plan on playing PvP at the highest level.
Whole nother level, baby. A whole nother level.
Main stat we're going to talk about is weapons. Weapons had a huge rework. Okay, and even if you're not even using a gun, such as like the Sightline Survey, where it actually ups its TTK, these guns are still going to be barely shice, and that's a fact, not an opinion. You guys are probably wondering, why would I use a weapon stat if it's not even changing TTK? It's because it extends the range. Okay, anything that extends the gun's range, you're going to be using it. So whether it will be 100 just to get the blanket effects with the reloads and everything that comes with it, or for the damage, this weapon stat as a whole is it's crazy. It's tough as hell in my personal opinion. Huge shakeup. Another stat you guys really need to look out for is super. I feel like these 3, like I said, health, super, and weapons are going to be the most important thing. The main reason why super is probably one of the most, if not the most important stat in the game when it comes to PvP, because when you're playing against the higher echelon players, when you're playing against the best players, I'm talking about those motherfuckers that haven't moved from that smelly, disgusting ass slimy seat. Their wet ass has been sitting on that seat since this DLC came out.
Youth of society. You shut up when I'm talking to you! You shut your mouth!
Those motherfuckers, when you play them in trials, if you do not have a super, you're going to lose. Okay, that's just what it is, because you just start snowballing the orbs, where everybody can not only abuse the orbs but abuse the super as well. And this will be happening in comp and also in trials. I feel like outside of weapons, this is probably the second most important stat. You don't need to have over 100, because once you have over 100, it's starting to do more damage. That's more of a PvE type of thing. So as a baseline, you probably want to really be sitting at probably like around 80 to 100. Me personally, I'm going for 100. I'm not trying to loosen those supers. I ain't with that shit, and that's a fact. Not a pay. I ain't with none of that corny shit. You get a super, I get a super. We all get a super. You got me fucked up. The next thing you need to be looking out is for health. Now, for health, I've been seeing a lot of people saying they want to have a build that have like 160 weapons and 160 health. That's pretty much going to be impossible, because stats don't run like that. And I feel like Bungie did that purposely, because I could just imagine if you have 160 health and then 160 weapons, and then what, you try to have like 100 intellect. I mean, this shit would be blown out of proportion. You have to literally invest, and that's the biggest thing about these stats. You have to choose what you want to invest in. If you want to survive more, go into recovery. You want to be able to fuck somebody's bitch with this damage, you go straight into the weapons. If you want to be an ability whore, because that's how you play, okay, you don't have dumbs, you have toes, and you just trying to press a whole bunch of button mashing so you can use your abilities, you can go into one of these two. But you're going to have to pick which one you want to go into. And this perfect example is that we have a sightline survey. In order for you to 2-tap, okay, you need to be over 157 weapons, okay? And a lot of people are saying, well, 157 doesn't work all the time. That's because 157 is the baseline. You have to go at least 5 stats over for you to really have that consistent 3-tap. I have been having a lot of reports, people telling me I'm at 150, I'm at 155, sometimes I 3-taps and sometimes I don't. It's really safe to just sit around 5 stats higher than what the initial threshold is, okay? And that is a fact, not opinion. So this particular build, we are using the sightline survey. I have a lot of people asking me too, where do you get this gun? How do you get this gun? The thing about this gun is that you can't get this shit no more. You have to wait for Xur. I'm sorry, if you do not have this gun no more, it's Jove, okay? Pick up the Bygones from fucking Gambit, man. That's all it is. Pick it up from that motherfucker. You can't get this gun. If you guys are probably wondering, why is this gun so good? This turns this gun into the OG Not Forgotten. I've been hearing a lot of people bitch about this gun, on forums and Reddit, but when I actually play the game, when I actually play PvP, I rarely even see anybody use this gun. Number 1, nobody has it, and number 2, you have to hit your shots, and number 3, nobody likes to frame. But the biggest thing too, if you have this gun, you have to hit your shots. If you do not hit your shots, this is going to be a trash gun, and I feel like it's a high risk, high reward type of gun, glass cannon type gun. So if you are cooking with this gun, the biggest thing about this gun is that you have to hit your shots. If you don't hit your shots, this gun is pretty much trash. But if you do hit your shots, it turns into the OG Not Forgotten. Okay, you ask me how to get it, you can't get this gun. You better wait till Xur comes here. Even if Xur comes here, you need to be able to craft and everything. So that's the reason why we're running the 160 stats, and we're able to still get this 100 intellect and also the 100 discipline. This is my personal version of the build. A lot of you guys may not want to go into 100 discipline, so if you take this off, you might be able to get to, I don't know, maybe 120, 130 health. But it's all flavor. It all depends on what you want to go for. Me personally, look, this is a grenade build. I've been leading with grenades since Sunsinger, since D1. That's what we're doing with Shadebinder. So I have to have this 100 at least minimum in discipline. All my other stats are kind of whatever. We're gonna go into some of these other builds as well. Like I said, we have 4 other ones we need to go over. Let's go over the rest of the guns. We went over the shaft, we went over this. So this is the brand new heavy. A lot of the sweats are running in the streets, like myself. We will have heating up, successful warm up, projection fuse, small bore. The main reason why people are running these type of frames, it's a 3 burst, it's very easy to hit, number 1. And number 2, when you get heavy in the Crucible with this gun, you spawn with 5 bricks, bro. You literally have a full clip of heavy. The thing is too, if you die, just know if you die of this heavy, the opponent's gonna get heavy, they're gonna have full heavy. That's just like I said, this whole build is glass cannon, okay? So just take that in mind. Really good option. If you guys do not want to use that, we have the machine gun too, where it has fourth time the charm, and also tap the trigger, or you could use the truth grenade. And I heard there's an error with the truth grenade where if you shoot the truth, it charges your grenade or something crazy. Another bug Bungie hasn't fixed yet. I don't know what they're doing. They're probably playing with each other's nut sacks, who knows. Let's go ahead and show you the mods. Okay, the mods, it hasn't really changed. We're running the arc targeting, and we're also running kinetic targeting for the shaft, and also an arc siphon, just so we could also abuse our boots, always having a better cooldown, especially tied with our shade binder build. We get a orb if we kill somebody that's frozen. So the biggest thing about this build is really cycling those orbs, getting your cooldowns a little bit lower. Okay, and when we go into these gloves, this is the bread and butter of this particular build, is the gloves. We are running the arc dexterity, and this is where you guys need to start using melee fonts. You guys need to start using fonts, and that's another reason why I am running these siphons. Okay, now when it comes to trials, you probably aren't really going to be using these orbs. You aren't really be seeing orbs too much, so you guys can replace these orbs with something like another arc or another targeting. Me personally, I would go with another targeting because I want to be a cheesy motherfucker with this chaperone, and that's a fact, that an opinion. So outside of trials, you guys could use what I initially have right now, but if you guys are using trials, replace all this orb stuff with stuff that will help you and your consistency to win gunfights, just to hold down the map. Okay, the next thing we have is the chest piece. You're just gonna have some inflinchings and also the inflinchings. So the inflinchings work by a 20-30 basis, so I'm gonna have a extra 30 points, so that means my my anti-flinch is at 74 once I get some not once I get some orbs, just off rip flat, just 70. That's the reason why I'm running low on health. We have the boots. The main thing with the boots is that they added this enhanced athletics. This can vary from character to character, mainly Hunter. I heard you guys can get up to like 120 mobility, something real brazy. I've never seen any Hunter run that fast, so you guys can really be really slippery like Diddy, going all over the place. No Diddy, but if that's your flavor, you guys can. Hunters can get to 120 mobility, so make sure you take that with a grain of salt. But if you do, you're just gonna have to keep on stacking these over and over again. It is what it is. For me personally, I am on controller. I cannot skate like all you fast motherfuckers on the PC, so I'm just going out with one just so I can, strafe a little bit faster. I'm running Absolution for some ability cooldowns and better already. Recuperation got a nerf, so you're really going to be going for better already in the PvP landscape. And the last thing we have for is the bond, is another mod font mod. Like I said, the font mod, you're really going to be using these just so when I do get a mod, I'm now at 91 class ability instead of 71. Very shy, is my personal opinion. This is a grenade type of build, so we have bomber and we also have reaper. You cast out your rift, and then when you cast out your rift, you get a kill, you get an orb. So a lot of this build is orb regeneration, ability cooldowns, really abusing this sightline survey. So this is pretty much the build when it comes to PvP for Stasis. Let's go over another build that we do have. So this is another build. We're no longer going to go over the mods. The mods are pretty much the same, but this is just another sample build for the Bygones. This is probably going to be the most important and probably the most popular gun when it comes to trials this upcoming weekend. Not only just because it's easy to use, it's a fan favorite, but it has a 0.60 TTK with the weapon stat that I currently have. It's not on the screen, but I'll show you in a minute. But it does have a 0.60 kill time. It's the fastest one, even faster than Not Forgotten. I'm all for it. I would rather have the game be faster than fucking slow like how it's been. PvP's been failing for that reason. This is the role that I'm going with: Desperado, Keep Away, Ricochet, Small Bore with a ballistics. I feel like this is the best of the best because once you start really proccing the Desperado, I don't even know what the kill time gets up to, but I know it looks like D1 last word. That's what it looks like at this point, and it also pushes the range with Keep Away. So this is going to be probably your main gun you're going to be seeing in trials moving forward. We do have, I don't use the Inquisitor. I don't use that. I use my mind benders. I'm sorry, I'm just a slave for the OG mind benders. This is just me personally. You guys can use whatever you want, but this is just the gun I'm running. The heavy's still the same, but the main reason why this is just going to be the #1 gun in trials is just because of this weapon stat. Now for this weapon stat, first off, if you guys are wondering what weapons get changed by the TTKs, I actually made a video on that on the channel. My last video talks about TTKs, which how much weapon power you do need to be able to shift that TTK. card at the top. You've been seeing the thumbnail zoom in. Let's go back to the regular video. So like I said earlier, in order for you to get that kill time of 0.60, you need to be at 187 weapon stat. Okay, and like I said earlier, when you guys over invest in these stats, the rest of your build's going to be really struggling, really lacking behind. So in this particular example, I'm on Shade Binder. I use my nades. I can't get anything else to get rid of this 20, but personally you could have a 190, 100 intellect, or 100 100 grenade, or you can go into maybe 190 weapons, and then you can just put everything else into health to the point where you need to at least have 80 in your intellect. So it's all depending on what you guys are using. Me personally, I have to go into grenade. That's why it's there. If I have to suffer, it is what it is. I generate so many orbs with this build. I get my health back. I don't really care. But the biggest thing about this particular build is that you do need to have 187 weapon damage. This will be the #1 gun you will be seeing. But like I said earlier, if you guys do fully invest into this stat, you need to at least minimum have 100 super, especially in trials, because you don't want to get in that position to where one team gets the super and pretty much lose. You don't, like, by the time you get the super, you're already in orbit wondering what the fuck just hit you. So just take this with a grain of salt. Bygones definitely going to be more likely the #1 gun in trials this upcoming meta, and just be ready for that. Next gun we have right here is the 120s, and this is the last set of guns I'm going to talk about, because I feel like these are going to be the 3 most popular guns: the Sightline Survey, the Bygones, and also the Criminal's Dagger, or anything that's a 120. So if you guys are a 120 user, we actually have a couple of builds we can run here. The build you guys are seeing right here is the 160 health stat. Everybody's saying you need to be 160 health. The thing about the Criminals, this particular gun, is that it doesn't matter if you even have 200 weapon stat on this gun, the kill time doesn't change. So that's why you don't really need weapons on this gun. Yeah, it pushes out the range just a little bit, but it's a fucking 120. It always has range, and you just really want to abuse everything else in your build. I have the 𝕂𝕠𝕤𝕒𝕣𝕒𝕒 god roll. This is my personal god roll for controller. Everything else is the same, but that's the reason why my weapon stats is kind of low. Yeah, do I miss the being able to reload and lose the handling? Yeah, but this is unmatched. 161. This is really what you want to be going for. I feel like a lot of sweat players that is running a 120, I feel like this is probably what they might go for. Try to shoot for 160 and then 160 grenade. This could be anything you want. Instead of 100 grenade, you guys could put that in weapons maybe, and also 100 intellect right here with 71 class. This is more so of like a trials build, or just a super sweaty type of build. If you guys do want to go for like a more hyper aggressive with a higher weapon stat, we also have this build right here that's a little bit more evened out, but we are lacking that 160 health stat, as you guys can see. Everybody was trying to shoot for this 160 health stat, but like I said earlier, when you use this 160 health stat, bro, a lot of your build's going to be shit. The only reason why I'm doing the 160 health stat, because I have so much gear. I have in-game gear. This is an in-game PvP loadout, like you guys see in the title. I have so much gear, you could do this, but a lot of you guys, it's not at this particular level. I'm at 403. You're not gonna be able to make builds like this. So especially if trials is going to be here this upcoming Friday, and let's be real, a lot of y'all motherfuckers ain't gonna be grinding that much. PvP players, I'm telling you right now, we don't like PvE, so it is what it is. But yeah, this is another version of this Criminal Daggers build that we do have here. This is more of an even, you would just want everything a little bit, really good. We really could go for, maybe if you don't want to use grenades, you could put all of this 100 grenades into class, and then you could probably be at like 50 grenades, 20, 30 melee, 100 class, 100 intellect, and also a little bit of weapons. Like I said, everybody really wants the weapons, and the reason why this threshold for weapons is very good is because once you hit anything over 120 weapon stat with a 120, it allows you to actually two-head one body anybody with an overshield. And also, I didn't talk about the stats right here, the builds, the gear stats. You see, you deal significant damage with kinetic damage, combatant shields, overshields, and construct. Constructs means barricades, turrets, stasis crystals, and also other objects. I feel like this might be the best PvP type of build, just because you always see crystals, you always see barricades, everybody got overshields in PvP, and if you are using a kinetic weapon, whether it will be the chaperone or even the criminal's dagger, this armor, if you have 2 pieces, pushes through it. On top of the 4-piece, the 4-piece does not work in PvP, unfortunately. Look, it creates a crazy ass blinding effect. It doesn't work, so you're really just shooting for this particular version right here if you are using any kinetic type of weapons. Okay, so this is pretty much the build. A lot of people are asking, what's your weapon stat, what weapon stats should you be using? It's really all up to you. There's so many different variations of what you could do, as you guys can see with all these builds. There's just so many variations you guys can really do. Me personally, I'm just going out for this, and this is just my build because 180s have always been my favorite. NF is my favorite gun in the game, and this is just what I'm rocking. But just know when Trials comes here, this is going to probably be the best gun in the game, especially if it has Desperado. If it has Desperado, I mean, it's just going to be Jove. Nothing get challenges if they hit their shots. So just be ready for that. And yeah, that's pretty much the stat breakdowns on, pretty much what are the best builds you could possibly use in Edge of Fate PvP. Okay, one more thing before we actually leave. I did not talk about one more thing for all the people that's trying to get, let's say, 200 strength. I've been seeing a lot of people that play Prismatic Storm with the slide. You probably don't want to be going over 150 to 200, because if you do that, a lot of your other stats are going to be really shit. My personal opinion, if you guys are playing slide prismatic, probably get maybe like around 150, 160, just so the rest of your builds are really evened out. Because even when we look here, I'm at 191 weapon stat, and then this can probably maybe be health. It doesn't have to be grenade. Oh no, this would be like weapons. This grenade would be weapons. You have 150 right here, 160, and then maybe with the weapons or health. It's just like I said, there's so many possibilities that you guys can really use when it comes to PvP. It's hard for anybody to tell you this is the best or this is what you're going to be going for. It's all personal preference. Like I said earlier, my personal preference is the NF. This is what I'm really going to be using in the streets until something happens. I don't think anything's gonna happen because they added this system for a reason, and you have to invest. That's the biggest thing that I do like. You have to invest into your build, and your build was never going to be like anybody else's build, and that's what I like the most. It allows you to be different from everybody else. The biggest thing I hate about PvP is everybody's always on the same shit, same stats, same weapons. Now with this build system, everybody's build's all going to be different depending on how they want to play the game, and that's one thing I do like. I talk a lot of shit on budget, but that's what I do like. Look, that's all I got. Long video. I was gonna add gameplay, but I've been sitting here for 15-20 minutes. Look, we'll have gameplay showing off the satellite survey in the next video. Tell me below what you guys think, and yeah, that's all I got. But look, before I go, if you are on the vibes, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It all goes.